Hey everyone, I am going live tonight because I am going to make a character for Pathfinder because I just started playing this at my friendly local gaming store and I really got into it because of the group Critical Role. They're the ones that really got me tuned into, how much fun role-playing games can be. And so I've done a couple of them. I've done Pathfinder. I've done Dungeons & Dragons a few times. I just did Candela Obscura over at Gen Con. So I've had a lot of fun with it. So I'm going to be doing a campaign in a Pathfinder Society game. And I'm going to attempt to make a character for that campaign. I have no idea what I'm doing though, so I'm brand new to this. I thought that maybe if anybody knows what they're doing or knows anything about Pathfinder, they can kind of help me as I fill the sheet out and try to figure out what I want to do for my character and everything. I got a couple of resources I'm going to use to create the character here. But yeah, I just thought that I would share my experience with everybody, and maybe you can help me along with this. Maybe you're brand new to Pathfinder and you want to see what this looks like and what you might want to do or might not want to do based on how this goes tonight. But I'm going to be filling out a character sheet that I downloaded from a website called Archives of Nethys, which is a resource that Paizo, the company that creates Pathfinder, helps. I don't know if they help run it or anything, but I know they're involved with this somehow, and they're really supportive of the website. And this is a resource that people can use if they want to get started with using Pathfinder. Now, if you've never heard of Pathfinder before, you're pretty new to it, it's very similar to Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, it spun off from Dungeons and Dragons, years ago, and it's kind of its own thing. So there's a lot of similarities in terms of the mechanics and how the game is played. There are differences in Pathfinder that you don't see in Dungeons and Dragons, and vice versa. So this is going to be, completely different in terms of, if I make a character for Pathfinder, it's not something that's going to be really used for Dungeons and Dragons. I've asked people around about that because I thought it'd be fun to use one character for both games, but apparently there's enough differences that it's not really going to work out. And so I made one for Dungeons and Dragons. I am going to work on one for Pathfinder, and so I'm going to be using the character sheet I've downloaded and a website resource from Archives of Nethys that kind of goes through how to create your character as well. So again, this is my first time. Don't know much about how to create your character, so I'm going to read through this as we're going through and filling out this sheet. Hopefully I do it right. I know I'm going to send this over to the person who's our game master just to kind of double check and make sure that this looks good. So if you want to just jump in and follow me right now, let's go ahead and take a look at this right here. Okay, so on the right, we have the character sheet for Pathfinder, and you see that there's a lot to fill out. There's actually about 4 pages worth of information. I looked through this and kind of, got a sense of what's going on here. I don't think we're going to be filling out like everything here. For example, character sketch, that's just, to show people what your character looks like. I can definitely do that. I'm just not going to do it for today. Campaign notes, this is not for an active campaign, so this is something that I'm going to be filling out later on once I start a campaign for Pathfinder. I believe action activities, you're going to be filling out some of this. I don't know how much of it you have to fill out. Free actions and reactions, I think these are ones that might be already preloaded depending on some of the things that you pick. But as we go through some of this other stuff, there's inventory, there's general feats, but then, from looking at this, I think this is the different levels that you would add this in here. So this is not something that we would fill out for all these until we get to this part, I think. So we're going to go through the resource here and kind of find that out. But let's go ahead and start, right at the top. I'm not going to do a character name just yet. I want to fill out everything, then come up with a character name a little bit later. Experience points, not sure yet. Level, I think this is, going to be level 1 since this is the first time that I am doing this. So let me go ahead and put in first, and then I'm going to grab this and kind of move it over to make it look a little bit level there. All right. Okay, so let's look at character creation here. I'm going to skim through this. This is pretty much telling you like what this is. Many of the steps on pages 21 to 28. This is coming from the Hero's Handbook. So in Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons, there are books that kind of give you instructions and the rules of the game, or at least like the structure and the mechanics and the system that you're basically playing out of. And so this is talking about the Hero's Handbook from pages 21 to 28. This will kind of tell you how to fill this out, but we're going to be using this website and not the book. So the website, I think, is going to give you all that you really need in order to do this. So let's go ahead and skip over here. The nice thing about this is when I hover over the menu, there is the character creation option here, and it gives you some things that you're going to need here. It's like ancestries, archetypes, backgrounds, classes, and skills. So once we get to that part, I'll go ahead and click on and kind of, check it out and everything. But I think that is a really helpful feature for somebody who is new to Pathfinder. That's how they could do that. So all right, all the steps of the character creation detail in these pages. Sample character sheet on pages 24 to 25. The 6 ability scores. Here we go. All right, so this is coming from page 19, the core rule book. Oh yeah, this is from the rule book, not from the Hero's Handbook. Sorry, I forgot about that. One of the most important aspects of your character is their ability scores. These scores, which is right here on the sheet here, this is, again, very similar to Dungeons & Dragons. They took this from that mechanic. So this is something that you want to see in both games here. These scores represent your character's raw potential, influence nearly every other statistics on your character sheet. So all the things that you pick here are also going to impact what you have down here as well too. So I know that much. I know skills are derived from your ability scores, because when you look at skills, you'll see acrobatics will say equals to dexterity, and then we have dexterity here, and then proficiency. I'm not entirely sure what the rest of these things mean, but we'll get to that and kind of figure that out. This is something, at least in this part here, I think you'd use during gameplay, but I'm not entirely sure. So, but let's take a look. Let's go back to reading here. Determining ability scores is not done all at once, but instead happens over several steps during character creation. Ability scores are split into 2 main groups, physical and mental. So the physical is strength, dexterity, and constitution, and the mental is intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Excellence and ability score proves checks and statistics related to that ability as described below. When imagining your character, you should also decide what ability scores you want to focus on to give you the best chance at success. Strength. Okay, so this pretty much tells you what each one does. So strength is your power, how strong you are, basically. Dexterity is your agility, reflexes, things like that. Constitution is your stamina. Intelligence is how smart you are. Wisdom is your common sense and awareness. And charisma is pretty much how you can sway people. So this is personal magnetism and strength of personality. So, all right, so this says each ability score starts at 10, representing human average. But as you make character choices, you'll adjust these by applying boosts, which increase the score, and ability flaws, which decrease the score. As you build your character, remember to apply ability score adjustments when making the following decisions. Ancestry. Each ancestry provides ability boosts and sometimes an ability flaw. If you take any volunteer flaws, apply them in this step. Okay, so to start off with, let's see here. Ooh, so here's the thing that's interesting is that we got strength modifier, we got strength score. And right now we're working on a score. So there's a difference between score and modifier. Score is like your total in that area. So it kind of tells you, what, not necessarily level, but just kind of tells you how, what your strength is in that category necessarily. And then the modifier is pretty much kind of like the advantage you have when certain circumstances come up. And so it's not like you take your score and you add that to that, but the modifier is supposed to be somewhat representative of that score a little bit. And so when the circumstances come up and ask for you to, roll something that's related to your strength or dexterity or anything like that, then you get to roll the dice and then you get to add or subtract whatever is in your modifier. So a lot of times if you're going to be adding things, there will be a couple of times where you might have a negative, again, depending on how you create your character and the flaws it comes through. So this is going to be like a plus and minus, but the scores all are here. So let's go ahead and just enter these in here, just so we don't forget this, and I can kind of keep track of all this as we're going through. But it sounds like you start off with 10 here. Okay, then background, your character's background provides 2 ability boosts. So that's interesting. So I mean, this says ability score, so I'm assuming that ability boost means, you know, one of these things here. And then class, your character's class provides an ability boost to the ability score most important to your class, called your key ability score. Okay. Then determine scores. After the other steps, you apply 4 more ability boosts of your choice, and then determine your ability modifiers based on those scores. Okay. And so this is a suggestion on how they say, you know, what you might want to do to kind of determine your score. Because sometimes you might have to like go back and forth and you don't know if you're being, you know, fair with it or not. If you're, you know, if you're creating a character that's really overpowered and not, you know, a balanced character to have, and, you know, something that gives a little bit more of an interesting character and, you know, kind of gives it more of a fair play for everybody as well. So let's see here. So one way to do this is to roll and assign scores. So you take 4 6-sided dice, or 4d6 as they'll use in this game, and discard the lowest die result. So I don't have 4, but I do have a 6-sided die that I will take out, and I'll just roll it 4 times, and we'll just do it from there. So hold on 1 second. That is not the 6-sided die I needed. Here it is. Okay, now we got it. Okay. All right, so we're gonna roll it 4 times. 1. All right, that was a 3, a 1, so we're gonna get rid of that one. Another 3, and a 6. So 3, 3, and a 6 is what we're gonna be using here. After the 3 remaining results, add the 3 remaining results together and record the sum. Okay, so that would be 12. Let's see here. Yeah. So I got 12 here. Repeat this process till you've generated 6 sets of values. Okay, so I got to do this 4 times? No, wait. 6 sets of values. I need 6 of these values. Decide which value you want for each of your ability scores. Oh, okay, so this is how you do it randomly, is that you would put this in here. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, so what they're saying here is I'm going to do this 6 times, and that will tell me, you know, which what numbers I should use here. So I'm just, for, you know, simplicity's sake for right now, I'm just going to put in numbers, and then I'll move it around however I want. So I just want to record it for now. Okay, so here's my next one. 6, 4, 5, and 2. Okay, so that would be 15. 6, 4, and 5 is 15. All right, let's do another one. 3, 4. Oh, do that again. 2, and 6. All right, so that's 13 because I had 2, 3, 4, and 6. So that dropped to 2. So there's going to be 13 there. Intelligence. 4, it's not for intelligence, but, you know, 6, 1, and 1. Okay, so that'll be 11. All right. 1, 5, 1, 5. Okay, so another 11. All right, and the last one. 3, 1, 3, and 1. Okay, so that'll be 7. I think there was a rule. I'm going to record it just for now, but I think there was a rule. That says it can't be over a certain score and it can't be lower than a certain score, I think. So applied to those. Apply the ability boost. Oh, no. These ability boosts cannot raise a score above 18. If this would happen, you could put the ability boost. They'll lose the excess increase. You can put the ability boost into another ability score instead. I could put into the ability score of 17 to reach 18 to lose access. Okay, I see what you're saying. Record the final scores and assign the ability modifiers according to table 1-1 when your character receives ability boosts. At higher levels, you assign them as any character would. Okay. So once you finalize the scores, it's an ability score and then modifier. Oh, okay, gotcha. So this is how you determine your modifier here, like I was talking about before. So depending on where it lands, this is what you put in here. So like this already is at a -2. I feel like that's just so low, though. I thought I read somewhere that you don't want it anywhere lower than 8. I mean, I don't want to re-roll. I just feel like that's really low. I feel like that's going to put myself at a disadvantage. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to re-roll, you know, just to see what happens. If it gets like ridiculously high, I might just do the average of the two. But let's see, because I feel like that's going to be really low, especially for someone this is the first time starting. I feel like that might not be the score I want to go with. So let's do a redo on that one. So we got 3, 6, 6, and 5. So that's a 17. Okay, so 17, 7, so that's 24 divided by 2 is 12. Let's see. Rolling is an optional system. It's not how core stats are normally generated to E. Yeah, I know. It just this makes it a little bit easier just to kind of play around with. So I'm just kind of going by the suggestion that they have here. Yeah, I feel, oh, what did I do? Here we go. What is going on here? I think I broke my computer. Okay. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and close that out. All right, and then let's try that again. Okay. It's not how core stats are normally generated in 2E. How are they normally generated? Because I know that's an optional. So I guess it is the generated part, like you put it at just 10 and then you kind of work your way through this. Is that how that works? Is that the usual method? Because that's the usual method. I'll just go back and put those at 10 and then just kind of work through these other things here. I could do that. So this is what I'm going to do just for the time being until I get a response about that. I'll just make that at 8, and I mean that's not egregiously low, I feel like, but I can play around that, especially since I got like a 15 here. Like 15 is a pretty high one. So, and then modify based on ancestry. Okay, so that's what I was saying up here. Then is you kind of start with 10 and then you go through the rest and do that. Okay, gotcha. That's good to know. Thanks. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do then. That's what I started off with. And then when it said the rolling system, I thought I'd give that a try. See, this is why it's helpful to have people to go through this so you don't screw it up. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah, so it's just really interesting, like, because those numbers originally when I rolled them were pretty good with the exception of that one that was like really low. And so I feel like if you're like a veteran player, if you know what you're doing pretty well, you could probably work with that like well enough to know how to balance it out and everything. Like my guess is I would definitely want to have one of the higher numbers like 15 to maybe balance out with that 7 somehow, or at least one of the higher numbers with the categories, because we got like the physical categories and the mental categories, right? So if you got like extremely low number like that, you might want to have like a higher one somewhere else or something like that. So All right. Rolling stats are pretty standard in 1E, but 2E they change to be more balanced. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, well, especially with something like that, like, again, you don't want somebody to get something like, you know, by chance really, really low or something that's just like really imbalanced, and then their first time playing, like, it just seems like it's a struggle for whatever reason. Okay, so ability boosts. An ability boost increases ability score by 2. Hold on. So I got to figure out the ancestry here first. So this is what I got to do. I got to figure out what ancestry I want to use here. So going back to this, here are the ancestries. And from what I understand, these are... Oh, this is interesting, because I think in one of the things I saw, I thought it was just 3 ancestries, but this is showing 6. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do, here's what's interesting for me is, like, you know, you got dwarf, and you got gnome, you have goblin, and halfling, human, and elf. I don't know, I've probably, because absolutely definitely not fun to have a bunch of low stats, have someone else who rolled really well is basically in god mode. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why it makes sense to have, you know, all of them just kind of start off with 10 and make that kind of the standard level. So I think because of my size, though, like, I just never really wanted to be like a dwarf or gnome or goblin or halfling here, because they tend to be on the smaller side. So I'm probably going to go with... Right? Or is one of them... I think there was one where I thought maybe they were small, but they really weren't. I know halfling is definitely small. This one doesn't say here, I don't think. It might be in the more details part. Let's see here. I mean, they look small there, right? Gnome, same thing. And dwarf, yeah, I know the same thing. So, what's for the beginner box? The limit options and these. Oh, okay, that's what it was. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know I've seen like different versions out there. So one's the Hero's Handbook is a little bit more limited but straightforward, and this one kind of gives you more of the option or choices. So I think for simplicity's sake, you know, I already know that I'm probably going to go with elf, because I feel like that was the ancestry I've always wanted to play a role in, or play that. So let's go ahead and click more for details. I'm going to skim through this just to see where the modifiers are. Oh, this is nice. They give you like some sample names to use. I know there's a fantasy name generator out there, but I always feel like I still have to mash it up a little bit, because they always like give you really, really odd sounding names, in the sense that I don't know how to pronounce it, and I really want to know how to pronounce it. So, okay, so this says hit point 6, so I'm assuming that what I'm going to do here is put in 6, and I'm probably going to add more based on some of the other things that we're going to be filling out here, like the ancestry and heritage here, right? So let's go ahead and put in here elf. All right. Ability boost is dexterity, intelligence, and free. Oh, free meaning whatever I want, basically. Dexterity and intelligence, and then whatever I want after that. So, oh, that's nice. Ability flaw, constitution. Okay, so that's interesting. Dwarf are technically medium-sized creatures. Really? I always feel like they're shorter than humans, though. Like, but maybe they fit in that range, right? Like, maybe that's what you mean, like, in terms of the range. Like, they're probably on the shorter end of medium, but they're still medium. That's interesting. Okay. All right, so I know what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put in the pluses for the ability here. So I'm just going to put a plus symbol here for now. So dexterity and intelligence, and then another one wherever I want. Okay, so maybe this is something that you can help me answer here. I have a free ability boost. Could I apply it to Constitution, this even it out? Or am I required to apply it to something that doesn't have anything in there? Right? Okay, let's see here. Constitution, we'll put a negative there. And then for right now, man, that's pretty balanced with that, isn't it? See, if it's a negative there, part of me thinks that I should probably have maybe a plus there, but I might want to have it with like wisdom or something like that too. Because this already has. So this will be balanced out. So I feel like if I put it there. Maybe. Okay. All right. Languages. Now, no, they have a place for languages and stuff like that and low light vision. Let's see here. Additional language equal to your intelligence modifier if it's positive. Okay. Choose from Celestial, Draconic. Did I say that right? Draconic? Gnoll, Gnomish, Goblin, Orcish, Sylvan, or in any other language to which you have access, such as a language prevalent in your region. Okay. Adding languages equal to your intelligence modifier. Okay, so we'll have to figure that out a little bit later. So you can see in dim light as though it were bright light, so you ignore the concealed condition due to dim light. Okay, so that's something I'll need to figure out here a little bit later. So interesting. Okay, so I think I got that part figured out there so far. All right, so this is, so going back to this, ability boosts. So my understanding is that I'm probably adding to the score, not necessarily to the modifier, because I think the modifier is based on your score, if I remember correctly from that table. So, but I'm just going to keep it here for now so I can know where I put these things in. And that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a star on that one, so that way I know that's my free one that I put in there, so I can change that around if I want. The other ones that got to stay. So, okay. All right. So I got it. Already got elf, and there's a lot more ancestries here, so that's good. All right, background. Your character's background provide 2 ability boosts. So let me go back here, and sometimes ability fall if you're taking a lot of. Okay, so here's what's interesting. So my guess is when it says that you have these boosts, it's not telling me how many here. So I'm just going to assume it's going to be +1 for right now, because that's probably where like the backgrounds and stuff is going to play a role here. So boost gives you 2 to a score, so basically a +1 to your modifier. Okay, so boost always gives 2. Oh, I think, now that you said that, I think I may have read that somewhere. I may have skipped over something. I think it said something about like how boost will give you 2 somewhere. Maybe I read it down here. Ability boost. Yeah. An ability boost normally increases by 2. However, if the ability score to which you're applying the ability boost is already 18 or higher, the value increases by only 1. Okay, that's right. So this is +2 here. That's right. Okay. When your character receives ability boost, the rules indicate it must be applied to a specific ability score to one of the 2 specific ability scores. But whether it's a free ability boost applied to any ability score of your choice. However, when you gain multiple ability boosts at the same time, you must apply each one to a different score. Okay. George, for example, received an ability boost to their Constitution, and their Wisdom score is one free, which can be applied to any score other than. Okay. Are not nearly as common. If your character has a ability fall, likely from the ancestor, you decrease that ability score by 2. Okay, so it still doesn't tell you if I could take my free boost and apply it to this, but my understanding is that I probably need to apply it to something else and not, balance it out, because it sounds like you got to spread it out here. So, okay. See, I know I always love like the strong physical characters, but I kind of want to do something different here. So I'm going to actually move this to yeah, because I'm doing an elf here. I'm going to maybe change it here to charisma, maybe. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it to charisma here. So, okay, so I'm going to do 12 here, 12 there, and then constitution. You decrease that score by 2. So the constitution is going to be 8. All right, and then dexterity is going to be 12 here. Okay. How about that? It's taking me forever to get to this point, but it's making sense now, so this is good. And then delete. Boom. Hey, thank you. That is really cool. That's the first time I ever actually used that. That was really cool. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. You can take your free one to cancel the flaw. Oh, you can. Okay. Well, now that just changes everything. I think I want to do that. I think I want to kind of keep it balanced for a little bit. I mean, I know I'm a little bit higher in some of these things, but I like to keep it balanced here. The numbers don't look the same size or anything like that, but that's fine. Yeah, because all this is 10, and then I got 2 in dexterity and intelligence. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Thank you. There's only 2. One Piece campaign. I've heard those are fun, the One Piece campaigns. Oh, that's really cool. I love how it sounds like, from what I'm learning about role-playing games, is that there are some that allows you to kind of mix different kinds of properties and stuff like that when you're doing the homebrew campaign and everything. So that's really cool. I love hearing about that. That's awesome. Okay. All right. So I've already done that. I've done the ability flaw, but I still need to go back. I need to do the background. So let's go ahead and go to character creation, and then, archetypes. I don't think it said anything about archetypes in here. Let's just stick with what's in here. So backgrounds. Okay. While most backgrounds are available to any character, some backgrounds are so unusual that just having them makes a character rare and extraordinary. Okay. These are, let's see here. PFS. Oh, okay. Maybe they'll explain what a PFS is here later. These rare backgrounds can give players significantly different role-playing experience by setting their character up with a history or legacy beyond the norm. Whether a character with the royalty background is heir to the throne of a kingdom, where a campaign takes place, or a distant but powerful nation in the same world, the character is situated in a special position within the narrative. The character's background is an intrinsic part of where to come from and not something they earn during the game. Rare backgrounds should be chosen only after discussion between the GM and the other players, as well as one would have applied to a particular character in your group's game. Backgrounds can also be unique, such that no other character may have them if your character does. Have them if your character does. To create unique backgrounds, you can adapt the rare backgrounds in this section by including more specific details. Oh, okay, cool. All right. So, oh my gosh, but what's PFS? Okay, Pathfinder Society. Thank you. Appreciate it. I think I'm going to stick with that because I know the Pathfinder game, one of them I'm going to be playing in is a Pathfinder Society. So I would assume that, I mean, I know limited restricted are going to be like even more narrow, but I feel like standard, like if I weren't doing Pathfinder Society, then it would still work because it's probably not going to be limited by that. It's going to be my guess. So, all right, so we have... Okay, so here's the ability part here. So I think this would be really interesting because I'm going to try to balance this a little bit here. So what I'm going to do is try to find something more, maybe, you know, in the mental or physical that I don't have already. So dexterity, intelligence there. Okay. So we got Academy Dropout, Acolyte. Interesting. Acrobat. A lot of this is already kind of self-explanatory just in terms of what it is. Oh, the skills here actually are going over here. Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right. Acrobat. Alkenstar Outlaw. You're an outlaw whose first crime was stealing the guns from Alkenstar's gunworks, which allowed you to commence a crime of spree of epic proportions. Okay, so clearly this is a little bit more specific in terms of what's going on in the game itself. Alloy smith, blacksmithing might be an ancient profession, but you are at its cutting edge. Oh, that's interesting. You've studied the properties of different metals, experimented with them. So this would be strength and intelligence. I already got intelligence in there though. So, all right. Oh, yeah, feet. So that one's good to know. Amnesiac. Your background is, well, you can't remember. So this is the Jason Bourne effect, basically. Except we don't have any ability, skills, or feat listed here. I wonder what happens when it's missing there. Animal Whisper, anti-magical. Magic has never worked right around you. Perhaps you'll become a magic user in spite of that. Or perhaps you use your unique ability to find... Oh, that's interesting. I'm assuming if I click on it, it will give me more information here. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. Oh, man, there's a lot in here to look through. Artisan... Artist, astrologer, awful scab. Prior to the evisceration of 4707. That sounds interesting. You won't push back its influence. It's a nasty. Interesting. Talk about the timing of that, right? Back alley doctor. You're the medic many turn to when a more official clinic or healer might not be available. Oh, interesting. Okay. Bandit. Barber? Okay. That's interesting. Haircuts, dentistry, bloodletting, and surgery. All right. Barkeep. I like that idea. Register. Pause legal manuals. Beast blessed. He once freed a magical beast from captivity, and whether it's potential byproduct of another. Oops. Hold on here. I did not mean to go there. Hold on. All right, Beast Bless. Canines. Fingernails that go to a sharp point. Excess body hair. This is cosmetic and provides no benefits. Interesting. Okay. Blessed by divinity for unknown reason and irrespective of your actual beliefs or divinity, grant you a boon to use for good or ill. I don't think I know what a boon is. At least in terms of Pathfinder. Your blessing grants wisdom and insight to aid. I kind of like that one. That's a good idea. Bookkeeper. Bounty hunter. An elf bounty hunter. Cannoneer. You served as a crewmate aboard a military vessel, private ship. Oh, that's cool. Charlatan. Child of the Twin Village. Where everyone has a twin with a special link. Okay. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down even further with rarity and select common, because this is actually a lot to go through here. So, clockwork researcher, clock fighter. While others choose to use their engineering ability to heal the injured or make brilliant innovations, you use your skill to repair my clockwork constructs that battle in gladiatorial combat. I don't think I've ever heard of clock fighter before. That's pretty cool. Code breaker, a cook, courier, criminal, crystal healer, cultist. Technically, anything other than common needs GM approval. Not sure how strict you want to be with your build. Okay, good. Yeah, I didn't even look at the rarity part. Like, I didn't realize I wasn't thinking about this. So I'm glad you said something, because I was like, yeah, I probably want to do common, because like what I was saying up a year before is that, you know, all the other ones like the rare and stuff like that, you know, aren't as common and everything. So I figured I want to stick with common for that first time here. So that makes sense. Kandero. Oh, cool. Deckhand. Deep sea diver. Dendrologist. Oh, yeah, okay. Deputy detective. Disciple of the gear. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Huh, okay. Discari disciple. Oh. The hard work and achievement vocational. Interesting. Okay. Want to know this more, make it a little more simple. You could restrict the source to core rulebook. Okay, let's try that. I'm just fascinated with what's all that's in here, but that's good to know. So the source, sources spoilers to core comics. Okay, here we go. Boom. All right, 35. There we go. Much easier. Thank you. It's a little bit more manageable. Field medic. Farmhand. I was a farmhand in the other one, so. Emissary, entertainer, field medic, fortune teller, gambler, gladiator, guard, herbalist, hermit, hunter, labor, martial disciple. Minor, noble, and nomad, prisoner, sailor, scholar, scout, tinker, and all street urchin. Huh. This is it. I'm going to do scout. All right. This looks actually really interesting. So let me go ahead and put that in here before. Oh my gosh, come on. And then try again. Fill in sign. I don't know why it's doing that. I mean, kept it, so that's good. All right. So with that being said, now that I know that I am scout, let's see here: ability, skill, and feat. Okay. Oh, hold on. One must be dexterity, wisdom, and the other one's a free. All right, I think it makes sense to do. I feel like it makes sense to do. I'll just go ahead and do for both of those. And I think it's just one, unless you tell me there should be two in this one as well too. Maybe it is supposed to be two, but I'm sure if I went back and look at it, it'll probably tell me a little bit more. But I'm just going to put one in there for right now because I know that'll tell me the odds are the ones I add in there. So there's so many. Yeah, there are so many. I mean, I think it's fun to have so many, but like for your first time, you probably just want to do something a little bit more straightforward, and then you can start exploring some more of those nuance there. So, all right. So, forager. You're trained in survival skill and lore skill related to one terrain you scouted in, such as forest lore or cabin lore. You gain the forager skill feat. Okay. So we're going to say forager, scout. Okay. We'll do that there. Okay, so still 2. Okay, boosts until 18 are always 2. Okay, that's good to know. Good. All right, so that would be 14. Yeah, I just didn't want to go make that assumption until I verify. So I thought putting it just 1 for now will make it stand out more so I don't forget. So, okay, so I'm definitely going up in dexterity. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Let's see here. And then this one said you're trained in survival skill and a lore skill related to one terrain you scouted in, such as forest lore or cabin lore. Okay. Survival and lore. Interesting. So I get to pick this one. So this is something that goes back to like part of your forest or cavern. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to assume this one is also 2, unless you tell me that that's actually just the ability and skills or something different. T for survival and then a lore skill. Okay, gotcha. Oh, that's right, because you're going to be putting in here your modifiers and everything. So yeah, okay, yeah. That's right. That's coming back to me now. So okay, that's good. All right, and then do I put a T there? I just got to pick a forest. I'll put cavern. I'll make a decision later for that. Forest lore or cavern lore. Okay. All right, that makes sense. And then I think I had. Well, what was the forager part? I put that down here as a forager. Yeah, sorry, I got that. So I think I got everything covered here. Survival lore, such as forest, forager, Okay. All right. So we got that done. We got ancestry. Going back. Oh, I'm sorry. We got background. And then class. Your character's class provides an ability boost to the ability score most important to your class called your key ability score. That's right. Okay. So we got to go to class here. The T is for the checkbox in the skill where it says T. Oh, I see. Oh, this one. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's like so tiny there. Okay. So what's the T stand for then? Trained? Okay. Oh, because they're saying you're trained in that. All right, that makes sense. Okay. All right, so these are all of the. What are we doing again? Is this the class, I believe? Yeah, classes. Okay. Alchemist, Barbarian, Fighter, Kineticist, Monk, Druid, Cleric, Psychic, Ranger, Witch, Wizard, Sorcerer, Rogue, Summoner, Swashbuckler. To ease the proficiency system for a lot of things. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And then you kind of move up. Okay. You can move up or earn and all that. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm an elf who is a scout. So what would make this make sense but also interesting at the same time? Let me see what a kinesis is. Almost flows within you, roaring fire, kinetic gate, inextricably tied to your body channels, powered directly from the elemental planes. Constitution, first level hit points, 8 plus your Constitution modifier. Interesting. I really like this. I think I'm going to go with this one. This sounds really interesting. Some rules don't come up that often. Could be if I don't understand what they do. I'm just kind of scanning through this right now. Oh, this is really interesting. Getting these features of kineticist. Class features. Abilities gained at higher levels list the levels at which you gain them next to the features' names. Okay. So you get the first level, you have the benefits of your selected ancestry and background. Okay. Being a bit complicated. Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, I think it's a lot of fun because, yeah, it's going to be confusing a little bit at first, but I think it's really interesting to kind of codify something that is, how do I say this? It's fun. I think it's fun to codify something that is more of a something that is done rather than something that's measured, I guess. I don't know, but I think it'll be fun to kind of try that out. So, all right, so I think I'm gonna do this one. All right, first level, your class gives you an attribute boost to Constitution. Okay. All right, this is attribute boost. Is that different than ability boost? I mean, I don't think so because Constitution's right here, right? Okay. So, all right, hit points. 8 plus your Constitution modifier. Okay, so I'm going to put down here 14. Now, we don't have the Constitution modifier yet, so I think the next question I'm going to have at some point is, do I actually add in the Constitution modifier here, or do I just remember that I have to add the modifier here? My guess is I think they always have the total hit points there, so whatever my Constitution modifier ends up being, I'll probably add on to that, so, okay. It's a +2 still. Yep, in the remaster, they're getting rid of ability scores and they'll just have attributes. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, gotcha. Interesting. Okay. You increase your maximum number of hit points by this number at first level and every level after. Increase your maximum number of hit points by this number at first level and every level thereafter. So that means if I get to second level, it goes up by another 8? That doesn't seem right? It seems like that's a lot for that. Okay. All right, so I got that. Every level after is class HP. Oh, so like this one. So if I go up to second level, it's a you add 2 to it. Yeah, it's fine. Again, this is first level, so once we get to that second level, we'll figure that part out. So, all right. So I got my class is kineticist. All right. Okay. I like that. That's actually pretty cool. All right, determine scores. After the other steps, you apply 4 more ability boosts of your choice, then determine your ability modifiers based on those scores. Okay, so after I've done these, I can apply 4 more ability boosts of my choice. Interesting. I think I definitely want to go up in strength because I feel like strength should really go up there a little bit. All right, so that's 1. 2. 3. Let's see. That. Okay. That seems okay. Gotcha. Every level will be 8 plus. Okay, so it does go up another 8. We'll figure that out later. So, okay, so we have this. So now that we have these things here, we already did ability boost, ability flaws, ability modifier. Okay, so this is where we start filling in the modifiers here. So 12 and 13s are 1. So that's going to be a 1. 14 to 15s are 2. Okay. There we go. Now we're at step 1. All right. Well, this is a good start, I think. Like, thank you for helping me out with this. This has been really helpful because otherwise I would have botched this pretty bad. Not really bad, but it would definitely would have a lot of questions on that, I think. So, no, but this is really interesting. So I think this is a good start. So I'm going to put pause on this for right now because obviously creating a character is going to take a little bit more time for this. So, all right. Well, thank you for helping me out here, and I might go live and do this again, or I might just go ahead and start doing this on my own, depending on how I'm feeling at the moment. But this is starting to make a little bit more sense, and it's kind of exciting. Like, I already have some of these things here that's already giving me like an idea of like what kind of concept and story I want to have for this character. So this is really cool. I really like these 3 combinations. I think this is be really interesting. I feel like Elf Scout and Kineticist can almost be almost like a archetype for that kind of ancestry, but I like that though, just because I want to have a different kind of character than what I'm used to playing. I think this will be a lot of fun to do, and I think it just kind of makes sense with that as well. So it's a lot to learn at once. Yeah, definitely. Well, especially with like having to go back and forth with some of this stuff, and when you're just looking at this, like it's referring to other pages of the core rule book, so I think I might just have to get the core rule book on some level. But I think it also kind of assumes that you know some of the basics, which I do, but it's just a lot of like refreshing my memory of some of those things because I haven't played in about a month or so. The last time I played Pathfinder, I only played it 1 time, so cool. All right, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Have a good night.